I'm gonna start you off with a really deep question.
Okay, I'm ready.
What's the greatest piece of life advice you've ever received?
Well, that is a very deep question. Oh man. Oh, this is when I wish you would have prepped me for a call like this, because then I could have something extremely incredible. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna start with this. I'm sure it might expand a bit. The best piece of advice I've ever received is that no matter who you talk to, no matter where you're at, where you go, no matter what conversation you're engaging in, you can always learn something from that person. You can always take something from them and learn from them and grow. It could be a homeless person on the side of the road. It could be a billionaire in a mansion somewhere. Okay, no matter what, you can always learn from somebody you're speaking with.
Totally. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
What about the worst?
The worst advice. Don't start your own business.
Yeah.
That was the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but hey, it's better than working for the man.
Yep. It's worth it. You can touch a lot of people's lives, learn a lot. Right now I'm in the stage though where I traded my 9 to 5 for a 24/7. So it's not that I'm trying to work less here. I'm working a lot more, but I have a passion for what I do, and I get to touch a lot of lives, and they all touch mine. So a lot of growth that we were just talking about in there, being able to learn from other people, and it's phenomenal. So going out of my comfort zone, not staying comfortable, and going from that point forward to take a risk, and it's paid off, and I'm very grateful for that.
That was beautiful, man. Like jumping into something that you love and working on a passion and sacrificing a 9 to 5 where you can switch off for a 24/7, like you said, is that's rough, right? It's rough. But at the same time, like, you're doing what the fucking you want to do. Like, no matter what you do, life's gonna be stressful and you're gonna have to work hard. That's inevitable. So you can work hard for something you don't want to do, or you can work hard for something that you do want to do. And
yes,
really that simple, right?
That's simple.
Talk to me. How's it going? How's the whole business going?
Thank you for asking. It's great. It like everything has its challenges. I have invested in a business coach though, so that's been extremely helpful. At first I was a part of a program that was an apprenticeship program, and now I've developed into their mastery program. So at this point, the business is established, the foundation is set, and now it's about expanding. So I'm in the process of hiring an assistant coach and a social media outreach coordinator and things like that. So it's a whole new level when you take off a certain hat to put on a manager or a CEO hat. And some people think, oh, outsourcing, great, I'm going to give you this job, I'm going to delegate you positions, and then we're good to go, and that's it. And actually it's the complete opposite. It's you are taking off that hat and putting on all right, what does it look like to lay out expectations? What does it look like to manage this individual? Are they doing what you want them to do? And my business is virtual, so I'm not with them in person. So establishing meetings, make sure the mindset that I have is also their mindset, and being able to live up to my values and core tenets. And so it's definitely a whole new beast, and it's out of my comfort zone yet again, but I couldn't be happier about that, because that's what pushes you to grow. Using fear and that stress of, is this going to work, to push you forward rather than to hold you back? And that's exactly what I talk to my clients about every day. And so overall, the business it's expanded a ton as of recently. And so I never knew it could get this far already. So I'm just excited to push the boundaries even more.
That's awesome. And that's something that's really difficult in a business of fitness, right? Of like, it used to be in that one-man band or one-woman band where you're doing everything. Like 24/7, if something is being done, it's you. And then that's
right. Yeah.
Like, delegating tasks is one of the hardest things to do, right? Like, how have you able to manage that and work on those like people skills, right? Because we have to put on the mask of a coach, right? Yeah, that's fine. But now we have to put on a mask of like a leader, of helping other people then help you. And it's a very hard thing to do. So how have you been managing that?
That's a good question. Not wonderfully. So I'm working on it. There are a few, I have a few topics I want to hit on this question. The first one is this coaching academy that I'm with. They're called the Next Level Coaching Academy, and they are incredible about mindset. So as of now, in the mastery program that I'm in, I have direct access to the CEOs of the company, incredible coaches that help you with mindset, that help you with time management. These are people that have failed over and over and over again in their businesses, and they've established this whole group to tell you, hey, if you follow X, Y, and Z and this formula and do this, you will skip all that failure that we had. And so it's extremely helpful. It puts you on the fast track towards accelerating your business and growing, not only financially, but in the spectrum of helping other people and being able to reach out to others and finding people that actually need your services. So that's been great. So having that support system, I have a community. We get together actually in person for live events in Austin, Texas. So like there's tons of stuff that I'm involved with, this support system that's huge. So that's the first thing that's extremely helpful. The other part, just to kind of, I guess, brag on myself just a bit. I am a go-getter. I am organized. I like to plan. I love time management, and then learning how to become not just more efficient, but more effective in that efficiency is crucial. And so I challenge myself every week, right? I always say the definition of a fool is someone who does the same thing over and over and over again and expects different results. And so I'm the person that goes, okay, last week, X, Y, and Z didn't work out so well. So how can I change that this week in order to excel and go forward and manage it differently? So that's been helpful as well, just challenging my own growth. And the last thing is, so I have my husband, he's a merchant mariner. So he sails out at sea. He's been circumnavigated the globe a ton of times. Wow. He's this engineer on these boats out in Timbuktu. So he's in and out all the time. And so when he's here, I get to learn more about time management, learn about, okay, what does quality time look like? What does it look like to say, okay, today I'm working from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. and then I'm done, right? What does it look like to actually put those boundaries on my business? But when he's gone, I am all in. I am kind of this workaholic. I don't have to leave my desk. And that can get dangerous, right? So health-wise, I'm a fitness professional. I want to go work out. I need to be eating well. So I've learned to outsource some things. Like I purchased from a certain meal company that's all health and macro based and all that. And I try to get up and take my dog on walks and go to the gym. So I try to still put out a healthy, blocked time managed schedule during my week. But when he's away, I have a lot more time on my hands, and I could be in the office way past 11 p.m. at night and be up at 4 and do it all over again. So still learning. I've only been in the virtual space for just about 5 months. So it hasn't been too long, and it's grown exponentially. So I know I'm on the right track, but the growth management, the time management, the putting boundaries on my business, it takes time, because like you said, doing everything is a lot. If something's getting done, it is me. And so I always think there's not enough time during the day. So I try to dive in as much as I can and be as productive as possible.
You have to, right? Especially at the start, yeah. Like you have to carve that path for other people to start following, and then they'll branch off, right? But sometimes it takes someone with a little bit of charisma, and so that leader, that encapsulates the audience and be like, this is what we got to do. Rather than, oh, this is what you need to go do. It's like, no, this is what I'm doing right now. Like, follow me or piss off. You know what I mean? This is what needs to happen. Full stop. And I'm just going to go crack on and go do it. And, you would follow them into battle over someone that would stand at the back and be like, oh, just kind of like run that way. You'd be like, whoa, hold on a minute. Like, you're telling me to do something and not willing to do it yourself. So, if you are trying to build a team and keep on expanding, and keep on expanding again, that's definitely going to help in the long run, 110%.
Yes. Yeah, I sure hope so. Sure hope so.
Ask yourself the question, right? Like, say, for example, you worked for me, right? Mm-hmm. And I sat at the back and was like, Charlotte, I want you to go do this. You probably do it the first few times, right? Because it's your job. And then you'll turn around and be like, wait, hold on, he's not doing anything. like, and then inevitably that partnership would break down and you would leave. If if you had any brains anyway, some people will blindly follow, but most of the time you would leave. I know I would. Or if I'm like, okay, we need to go do this, and the next thing you know, I've absolutely plowed myself into oblivion, and you're like, holy shit, he's going, and I'm giving back to you as an employee, then 100% you're going to be all in, right? And that's the way I think about it. It's like you have to be able to lead from the front. You have to.
Yes.
There's no other way.
Set an example. Right. Yeah. Set the example. Working hard. Yeah. You want to live up to what you believe and what you preach. Not being a hypocrite. Live by that. Live by that.
That scares the shit out of me, being a hypocrite.
It does to me too. My life is platformed on social media. Everyone's watching what I'm doing all the time. And I try to be like, my motto is live your optimal, but
live your optimal.
I say this word, live your optimal, but I say this at least I would say a minimum of 25 times a day. Are you being transparent? Are you being real? Are you being honest? Because if I don't have transparency, virtual is very different. I'm not able to knock on someone's door who lives in New York when I'm in Arizona, right? So what does it look like for them to actually express their fears, their doubts, their frustrations, their disbelief, and for me to actually coach them through that and work them through that? It's not about me throwing numbers at them and them trying to meet it. It's about them actually having this internal change, this mindset change, and being transparent about that process. And so I'm, like I said, going back to the actual point here, my life is being displayed. My clients, my potential clients, everyone's watching me to see, is she actually living up to what she preaches, to what she teaches, to what she's saying she can do for me. And so that transparency and not being a hypocrite is extremely crucial to the authenticity of my business. And if that's not there, I tell people all the time, you can take that contract and rip it up in shreds and get a full refund and walk away, because I stand by what I say, and I stand by what I believe in and the science and the facts behind it. And I want you to make sure that I'm living the same way as well.
You gotta build it on truth, right? Like having hard conversations and meeting the other person with an honest truth rather than like a comforting lie is actually showing more respect. It's like, hey, yes, I'm going to tell you the truth, and that's it. And I'm going to hold myself to those same standards. Like that's really respectful for future endeavors of people wanting to work with you, people that already work with you. Like that's showing them more respect than it would be to just be like, no, I do that and don't actually do it. Or, oh no, I'm doing something else. It's like, no, don't fucking bullshit them. Don't lie to them. Like tell them the truth.
Yeah. And that causes so much of the stress and anxiety that exists in our culture today. Because if someone's saying there's somebody, or they're trying to live up to these expectations that somebody else has on them and they can't do it, talk about the amount of stress there is. Like, oh, is someone going to find out? Is my business going to crumble? Or is this that I said I was going to do and didn't do, is it going to be revealed? And that just causes so much stress and anxiety trying to put on a costume, basically, of somebody who you're claiming you are and you're not. And so it's just freeing to be real and to say, you know what, even if it's not logical, right? Because if all of my clients were 100% perfect and everything was reasonable, they wouldn't need a coach. I tell them all the time, I said, you'd be Jesus if you claimed that you were perfect. So, but if you can sit here and actually let me know even the most irrational thought, and I can help coach you through it, through that transparency, you will have growth. And there's freedom in that to go, this is honestly how I feel. Feelings are not something we can base truth upon because they're subjective and it's based off of our viewpoint, our lens, our worldview that exists. And so how can we actually find truth and fact behind what you're thinking and what you're feeling and dive into that mindset and change the game for you entirely versus, like I said, hiding or pretending to be something that you're not. I'm fine. It's okay. Everything makes sense. I'm good. And then never grow, never learn, never develop into somebody that you possibly could be and transform other people's lives, not just your own. So it's extremely crucial to be transparent.
That's so fucking important. And I think you touched on something that everyone needs to be doing in this space, and not a lot of people are, in the sense of, tell me like emotions, tell me like something that is irrational and doesn't make any sense, and just how you feel. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to make any sense whatsoever. You can just throw words at me and be like, well, I kind of feel this way. You're like, okay, great. Let's work with it. Like that's the way to go about it, rather than, oh no, I'm fine. I'm sound. I'm all right. All right, cool. And then in 40 years time, you have a midlife crisis. It's not the way of the world. It's not the way human beings are supposed to be, you know, cover everything up for the first 30, 40 years and then swing from a noose. That's not the point. The point is to just be able to separate your feelings and the way you think, so your thoughts, have them as two separate things, and not have it as defining who you are. Being able to work with it, not against it, you know, and just putting it behind a closet. And I think that's really important, bringing it into the space, because now you're not only helping someone's physical health, but you're also helping someone's mental health within the same service. And that's so important.
And to add on to that, it's crucial to create the safe space to let them know they can do that, right? Because, and this is a total conviction on my end, something that I've learned being a coach. Initially, when I first started, I get frustrated, right? It'd be like, I'd get these questions, things that I've already said, like I felt like I've said it 800 times, things like that. And in my head, I'm thinking, and I forget, how could I forget? One, Charlotte, hello, you're not perfect, right? Get rid of that mentality. I am a type 1 Enneagram, right? I'm the perfectionist, you could say. First of all, scratch that off the chart. One, if I went to my one of many business coaches and came to them with a question or concern or doubt about how I'm expanding, how I'm growing, and they looked at me and they said, are you serious? Are you kidding me? Yeah, we have told you this before. How can you think this way? I'd fire that business coach in 2 seconds. You're not helping me. I just came to you with something that I was feeling, that I was worried about. You didn't give me any tools to work on that or grow. That business coach would be gone. It's the same thing in the fitness realm, right? You have to create this safe space for these clients who don't have these habits established, don't know what a sustainable lifestyle looks like, have been deceived by diet culture and what the world has to say about how health should look, about weight, BMI, all these numbers are thrown at them, and they're overwhelmed and confused and are deceived ultimately. And so I'm here to say, hi, I have this safe platform for you to come to me in. Let's talk about all of it. Tell me anything. Bring me your doubts and fears. Tell me you're worried about the program. Let me know. Even my business coach in the Next Level Coaching Academy, the first module that we have is address your fear. And he tells you right there on computer, I want you to say out loud, tell someone you love, go onto the Facebook community group and say, I'm scared. I'm freaked out. I don't know what I'm getting into. I'm diving into something that is so unfamiliar and so out of my comfort zone. I could let this all fail. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. And that's the first step. And it's okay. And that's so normal. And we have to normalize it and let people know that it's okay to think that you should be perfect right off the bat when you start a new job. Talk about the anxiety, right? That's putting on this expectation that's not realistic. So back into the coaching and the fitness, I've tried my best to create this safe space so that you can come to me with anything, no matter how irrational you think it might be, even if you don't even know it's irrational. And let's talk through it and work on that growth to change the mindset, which consequently changes the physical fitness and gets you the results that you want, that's sustainable and long lasting for the rest of your life, rather than some 6-week thing that ends up putting you worse off than you were before.
Yeah, and then you yo-yo, right? You not only yo-yo physically, but you yo-yo mentally, like to the highest of highs, because you're like, oh, I've done my goal, absolutely fantastic, and then you end up fucking hitting the floor again. You're like, whoa, I'm a piece of trash because I couldn't sustain it longer than 6-7 weeks or whatever. And you're like, whoa, hold on a minute, we've like put a plaster on a broken leg, you know? I honestly think coming across not a perfectionist is going to help more than coming across as a perfectionist, if that makes sense.
Oh, 100%.
Being like, hey guys, like, you know, I ain't perfect. I'm trying to figure this shit out too. I'm trying to figure out, first of all, who I am. Second of all, what this thing that we call life is. And third of all, like my purpose in this thing that we call life. And I'm also going to try and help you do exactly the same. Like, are we on board? Cool. So let's figure it out, rather than like, oh no, I am an all-seeing, all-doing person, and whatever question you come to me, I have the answer already. It was like, how arrogant do we think we are? You know, everything that we deem as fact is only a theory. We don't know 100% guaranteed. So it's like, we don't know anything. You know, the only thing I know is I know nothing, right? And it's, well, let's just figure this thing out together. And I think breaking that barrier like you're doing is so fucking important, especially for ladies, right? And this is something that I really want to talk about and kind of veer off the conversation of like women in the fitness scene, not in the industry, not like on a cover of a magazine or performance, literally just health and fitness, mind, body, spirit, whatever you want to call it, for ladies in the scene. I'm never going to feel that, right? I can empathize with them, but I'm never going to feel that because, well, I don't know if you can't tell, but I'm not a lady. I'm not going to know that, right?
Right.
What's that like? What, like, misconceptions do you get? Limitations do you get? What's the really hard nut to crack? And what's easy with ladies in the fitness game?
Great question. A lot to unpack in that.
Yeah.
The biggest thing first that I guess actually one of the easiest things for me to overcome is the trust, which a lot of people would actually say that that's one of the hardest things. It is easier for me because I do put on, or at least do my best to put on, that non-perfection overlay, I guess you could say. It's this empathetic communication, listening, acknowledging what the person's saying, where their goals are at, where their challenges are at, where they've struggled. And realistically, if you haven't related with them, it's different, but I have yet to not relate with one of these women that I've spoken with, and to actually sit there and go, I understand, and I feel that, and here's why. And actually explaining to them where you have had those challenges as well, and how you've overcome them, and why you have some tools in your toolbox that you can give to them for them to use as well. And suddenly, because of the transparency, because of the social media, because of the desire to put myself out there and let people see me for who I am, and then actually having a conversation. I actually was on a call with a lady yesterday who said, "You look real." And I was like, "What?" And she goes, "You look real." Like, she's all the way from New York. I'm sitting here in Arizona, and she's off in Long Island. And she goes, "You were the one account that I came across and you looked like a real person. Like, you have fitness stuff. You have tons of education. I can tell that what you're talking about is true and factual and scientific. So, you have the background, you have the license, you have the certification, but you're also real. You have a life. And I want somebody who has a life. I don't want somebody who just puts on the show." And so being able to overcome trust, to have trust and overcome the falsehoods that are out there, and actually relate with somebody on an emotional level and tell them that they're heard and that they're seen and that you get it and you have a solution for them. That's huge. And so that's one of the biggest things with women. I don't train men, but it's way less emotional from what I do know. And it's more about, hey, these are my goals. And for women, there's so much more heart behind it. And you can see how their struggles impact their life. I always say health and fitness, exercise and nutrition, movement of the body, and what we fuel ourselves with, it bleeds into every other aspect of your life. If you are unhealthy, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't fill your cup, if you're not mentally, physically, and emotionally and spiritually healthy, how do you expect to care for your family? How do you expect to care for your kids? How do you expect to have energy? How do you expect to get things done, to think clearly? All of these things impact your life directly. So it's important to understand and go, hey, I see this. And do you see how this is actually impacting you in more ways than one? And then that blindfold comes off and they go, I have to make a change. And you go, yeah. And I'm here to walk through that with you. I'm here to hold your hand and guide you along until you can do it on your own. And so that's one of the biggest things. With women, some of the most challenging people to communicate with are those who believe that they can't do it. They know they need to make a change. They hear what you're saying. they feel the relation, but they know from years of trying something, falling off, trying something for that yo-yo restrict, we were just talking about, restrict, binge, all of it. They don't see themselves actually completing a task. They don't see themselves getting to the quote unquote finish line. And it's about taking that and saying, hey, there's no finish line. The finish line is when you take your last breath.
Yep.
Okay. This is about consistency, not perfectionism. And so it's this mindset thing you have to play. And unfortunately, on a call, when I have my consultations, you don't have a lot of time to try and convince them about this mindset change. And so it's really about, again, developing that trust, establishing that foundation with them, and then talking through their doubts. Why was that real, what you're referring to? Why do you feel this way? Tell me more, asking questions, wanting to really dig deep into why this has made such a devastating impact in their life, and how to uproot that and bring it to the surface, and then direct straight on and go, hey, this is right here. This is how we're going to break this down. This is how we're going to change your life. But it's very challenging to do that when mindset is so far back and they don't believe they can do it. They're not all in. They're more interested and kind of shopping around because they don't really know what to do or how to do it, and they're unsure of themselves. That can be a challenge. And so working through that mindset and asking the right questions is crucial. So for women, it's very emotional, whether they say they're emotional or not. It's still very emotional. And it's finding somebody that they can trust and relate to and feel safe, feel like there's a safe space in that relationship to communicate and grow, and to feel encouraged and not judged. What does it look like to have that line between grace and saying, hey, we all make mistakes. You did not fail. You only fail if you quit. Let's get back up. What does consistency look like? What does progress look like? Even if it's 1%, even if it's 0.5% closer to your goal, how can we do that? And then that line between that and coaching, pushing, encouraging, guiding in the right direction, not judging. And so being very, very cautious about what that looks like. And again, digging into that mindset goal. And that's going to be the biggest factor that keeps them going and changes the ultimate outcome physically.
Wow. I think I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Okay.
I think both male and female are emotional. Right. And
yeah.
The trust thing is massive. That's something that I can highlight in my head, like skimming through all the memories of coaching fucking, I don't know how many people over the years, man. But all the ladies, it's like you have to develop that trust, right?
Yeah.
And that's the word I would use. With the lads, I would use the word respect. You have to develop the respect, mutual respect for one another. But I think looking back, and still coach to this day, so I'll look in the present too, of like everyone's emotional, and they're all emotional while they're there. And it's just kind of digging in and getting into their head and figuring out why. I think lads just, they put all that bravado on and yeah, fuck you, I'm here to PR. I'm like, okay, great, but why?
Right.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Why do you want to do
Yes.
that?
Yeah. And I do not disagree with you. I think that, I guess there is a level of intimacy, and I use that term loosely, and I'll explain that momentarily. But with these women, when I talk about empathetic communication, there are tears on calls. There's so many hardships and that transparency is not easy. And they really let on when you dig deep enough to what's going on in their life. And some of these women that I work with are dealing with some severe things that are very deep and very impactful. And they can be very heart-wrenching. And so there is that level of, and that's the intimacy I'm referring to, getting that close to somebody and relating to them that closely and going, hey, that's real. And I'm here to hear you and to see you. Like, that's huge. For a woman to do that with a man on a call and to be like connecting that deeply, I have my boundaries, especially as a married woman, which is why I limit some of my interactions. And I have not done a call with a man before. And the purposes are for my boundaries and those limitations. So that's, I guess, but I 100% agree with you. Respect on that end, being able to relate and go, okay, I see you in this, but everyone is still emotional 100%. And I completely 100% agree with that.
I think the male coaches need to mirror exactly what you're doing and be able to meet the gents halfway like that and be like,
Right.
let's get fucking emotional with this shit. It's like, oh, you don't want to. Okay, that's absolutely fine. You can put that bravado on, but hey, I'm like so comfortable and so strong in my vulnerability that I'll meet you that way. And I might have to sit in the middle of that road for 3, 4, 5 encounters until you finally come back to me and be like, okay, Alex, like, so I've not been telling you. I was like, yeah, because I can read what's behind your eyes, you know? That's why I'm still here in the middle of the road waiting for you to get off the curb, you know what I mean? And come find me. I think I would pose that to the male coaches then and be like, guys, you need to meet Charlotte halfway. Like, she's doing this for the female side, and I 100% agree and respect those boundaries of we need that, right? Otherwise, work and life blends into one, and you're like, whoa, that needs to stop.
Yeah.
And be able to break down like those misconceptions.
100%. 100%. And I know there are a lot of male coaches within the Next Level Coaching Academy, the NLCA, that I'm a part of, and they're doing a wonderful job. And we're reaching so many people. And so it's growing, and we're learning so many cool things. And it's something that I hope continues to grow, because we forget how many people are out there that need this. I drive around, and just off of strict visual judgments, I'm like, man, I want to offer my services to everybody in here. Like, we gotta fix this, right? And it is like another pandemic that's even worse than the one that's going on right now. It really is. And people are so unaware of what's happening. And unfortunately, we are so set on our instant gratification and desire to have these quick fixes and things right now that no one's willing to put in the time to make lifelong sustainable changes. And it's about going against culture and changing that.
I think we've fallen into the trap of numbing things.
Huge.
Right?
100%.
I might get a little bit too philosophical in it. If I go down a rabbit hole, just kick me out of it. Right? But I do multiple things, right? Like I coach and all that shit, but I'm also a writer too. So
totally.
It's who I am and also what I do. So whatever. But what was I saying? We numb things, right? We like to stay in the middle, right? But life is a gray area, and we know life pendulums, and it goes from one to the next. You know, you have the ability to feel complete sadness, and you also have the ability to feel complete ecstasy, right? That's being alive. But most of us, that's living, right? And most of us just numb ourselves, so we stick into the middle. So we're just alive. We're just kind of getting by. We don't want to go too far one way, too far the other, because we think it's going to go back to the other side, and we're scared of that undulation, and we're scared of that pendulum of one side to the other. And you're like, no, that's what life is, man. Life is day and night. Life is good and bad. Life is yin and yang. Life is depression and fucking ecstasy. Like, not obviously the drug, I mean the feeling.
Got you. Yeah.
You know, it's everything. But going back to that fear that you said, people are scared of it because it's unknown, and what people don't understand, they fear, and what people fear, they stay away from, and they'll build barriers, and they'll throw away those things that they don't really know what to do with, i.e. feelings and emotions. And then they will either drink, gamble, watch Netflix, do whatever to just numb themselves into this state of like, I'm going to wake up, do the same thing, go to bed. And then 20 years later, they're like, oh my God, I'm in a really big hole. You're like, yes, like you've been numbing yourself for the past 20 years. I don't understand it. I think that is the major issue. Like, everything is, instantaneous, right? And instant gratification. But why? And why get that instant gratification? Because you're trying to hide the feeling of something that you're feeling. And ultimately all that does is just puts it in a bucket. And then you put the next stone in a bucket and the next stone in the bucket. And eventually that bucket overflows.
Yeah.
It's so big you can't pick it up. And
yeah,
it's, getting the ROI, right? Rate on your investment, or return on your investment. And I think that's why people like yourself are really important. Having those hard conversations, having those deep conversations. Be like, no, we're not going to fix you tomorrow. First of all, you don't need fixing. You need helping, right? We're not going to help you so you are, quote unquote, sorted tomorrow. No. We're gonna help you so you can live your optimal for the rest of your life. You like that plug?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I loved it. I loved it.
It's strange. This concept of numbing, it's strange.
It's very real, and it's interesting what you say. I'm thinking of a couple different things, a couple different terms. The first one's comfort zone, just the standard comfort zone, right? That middle ground, the not too far one way, not too far the other, remaining here. And I'm thinking about that instant gratification and how it does, trying to find quick fixes that keep you within that comfort zone, because traveling too far one way or the other includes that risk, and it's what people want to avoid. And it's quite sad that has to be the mentality, that is the, all right, we're good here. We're good here. No more. I'm done growing. I'm done with the challenges. People ask, and this is not to diminish or negate what anybody else is going through or feeling, because there are lots of people going through hell on earth here. But people ask why, and now I'm going down a rabbit hole, so you might have to kick me out, but why do we suffer? What's the point of having pain and people doing things that are complete evil and wicked and hurting others, even if it's not your own fault? Why suffer? What's the point? Right? And I look at it as, it is literally this aspect of growth, of sanctification, because you can choose to look at it one way, let it completely overtake you, destroy you, or you try and numb it, right? Stay within your comfort zone. You don't want to feel the depression. Okay, fine. Let's numb it. Let's forget about it. That's what everyone does. But if you choose to take that suffering, instead of numb it, feel those feelings, but then use that to learn and to grow and to adapt and change, and then challenge others and become a part of society that actually benefits other people and help them learn and grow and overcome those things. Oh my gosh, can you imagine how many lives you can change, not just your own? And so right there, it's this trying to change that mindset to be okay with feeling those things, to be okay with growth, to not just try and avoid it. And I truly believe that that's the purpose of suffering, right? How can we grow? And whatever anybody's beliefs are, whatever they might be out there, it comes down to like, okay, so if you believe you die, and that's it. Don't you at least want to have made an impact, made a difference, a good difference here on earth, rather than just have sat there and numbed yourself all your life? Okay. And I'm not saying that I haven't, because I totally have, in a more ways than one. I have lived that life. I have lived in the comfort zone, wanting to numb myself, not go from one way to another. I did that for so long. Why do you think I'm so passionate when the veils were torn from my eyes and I was like, oh crap, here's my bucket overflowing. I'm not living my optimal. I need to make a change. This needs to be so different for so many people. And so I want to make that difference for them. Sorry, I'm like crying.
No.
Dang.
See, this is the shit, mate. Like showing some passion, so showing some emotion. You know what I mean? That's what fires people up. That's what makes people commit to themselves, right? Seeing someone that truly, like, I'm part of like a coaching team, right? In sense of we just kind of study off each other. And the motto is you can't teach give a shit. And I go back to it I'd say daily, right? And I kind of put a spin on it when it's a little bit more harsh of like, you just got to give a fuck about people. And that's, it starts with just caring, like truly caring, and your passion behind your eyes will just fire someone up so much that they're like, you know what? Yeah, I need to do this for me. I need to do this because Charlotte gives a shit. And then eventually I need to do this because I'm going to be able to do exactly the same thing for someone else. I'm going to be able to do the same thing for my partner, my kids, my colleagues. Hey, the barista that makes my coffee in the morning, the florist that I walk past and never actually buy anything, but I can walk past and be like, hey, how was your weekend? Oh, but I don't know you. No, you don't know him. But like, how was your weekend? Because that vibe comes off you, right? And it's contagious. Like smiling is the most infectious thing in the world. Fuck COVID.
Yeah.
That just comes from a little bit of passion.
Yeah, 100%.
I nicked off Will Smith though. It's not mine. Smile, it's infectious. I nicked that one off Will Smith. Credit where credit's due, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think you work so hard for this? Where does that work ethic come from?
It's a great question. I never did sports growing up. My parents put me in them. I just didn't like them. I was kind of, you could say, the average Joe at everything in the beginning. Joe's gym, right?
Dodgeball.
Just I was okay in school. I didn't play sports. I played the piano. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and that was young Charlotte high school days, right? My junior year in high school, I decided to go out for cross country, and I did ever since birth have a competitive spirit. I just wanted to do my best. I wanted to win. And because I was so average at everything, I just would sit back and not do anything. Like, right. It was just like this. I'm not good at it, so I'm not going to do it. And that was my mentality. When I got out to cross country and then later track, I actually did well. And it took a lot of work, but I worked hard at it. And I saw the people that were ahead of me, and I was like, I want to work up to that. And I started the end of my sophomore year in college. By my senior year, I was a 4.0 student. I had acquired 8 state championships in track and field, and I had a full ride to college. And I was like, okay, I'm actually decent at something. I want to keep going. I want to do well. And college went wonderfully, competing both in cross country and track and field. In academics, I was a bio pre-med major. And I had 3 jobs. I was working my butt off because I wanted to establish a foundation for myself. I wanted to prove to myself that I could work hard, that I had these gifts that I had been given, and I had finally found them. And so how can I maximize them and do my best at them, and not just become like the jack of all trades, sees everywhere, but how can I ace this proponent of my life? How can I just blow this area away and do my best, because that's the gift that I've been given. I believe everybody has special gifts, and if they don't know what it is, they just haven't found it yet. And so that was where that initially came from. And then when I graduated college, a whole series of events. I got married, and I got married before I graduated college. And just so many different life things happened, from personal training in a gym to personal life events that just shifted my entire, what I thought I knew, just growth, right? Young 20s, talk about learning, and with so much more to learn. I know, I claim I know nothing, but there's been so much that has happened. And so during that time, it has just slowly refined and built this desire to work hard and do well. And it really is, it has been instilled. And I think the biggest growth factor I've been going through this year has been the transparency, but also has been the, okay, what does it look like to say, I am scared, I'm fearful, but to still do hard things even when you don't feel like it. And I'm taking this from the CEO of NLCA. He always says, what does it look like to do one more thing? One more, have that mentality, one more. So I'm sitting here, I can do one more message. I can do one more call. I can do one more program. I can talk to one more person. I can send out one more handwritten note. I can say one more encouraging word to this person. What does it look like to just take that extra step and not just be average Joe, not just chill here and be comfortable? What does it look like for me to challenge myself and be out of my comfort zone? If I'm telling all of these people, step out of your comfort zone, stop numbing, feel the things, grow, be uncomfortable. It hurts, it sucks. Oh, well, let's grow, let's work through it. And I'm just sitting here like, yeah, I'm comfortable. That's cool, I'm making money. Awesome. No, I need to be doing the exact same thing. And it might not look the same. It might not be fitness related, right? I have my own fitness goals, but right, some people would say, oh, you're already there. Your growth, you look good, blah, 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 whatever. Well, no, I have my own fitness goals, but what does it look like in my everyday life to be challenging myself and growing, to be challenging myself in my business, to be challenging myself in my relationships? What does it look like to work on those? And those are all so crucial. And I just don't think you ever stop. So that to answer your question in a very long way, there was some personality stuff that was instilled ever since I was young, but the way it's played out, the suffering in my life, the things that went so awry, I never thought they would be fixable. The difficulties, the challenges has gotten me to the point where now I'm aware and can see, okay, what does it look like to step outside of my fear and to say, okay, the fear is always going to be there, but how can I take one step forward in it and use it to get me to the next step, to bring other people in, to have that passion for them too, and not just myself.
That's fucking beautiful. And
Thanks,
to add
Alex.
on to that, progression is addictive, right? Like seeing and feeling where you are now and then seeing it move forward and achieving things is fucking addictive. Like, if no one's ever done anything in their life, I'd be like, give yourself a month, 4 weeks, or work on something. Even if it's like I'm gonna go walk for 10 minutes and check my heart rate, right? And in 4 weeks, you'll obviously see the heart rate drop, and you'll see yourself progress. That's addictive. Like, go work on yourself. Keep going. Keep working at something. Like, keep striving. Keep pushing the boundaries, because you never know where you're gonna end up. I wrote something the other day, and it was just like, free thinking is the most innate quality, yet it's one of the most rare. Of like, allow your mind to wander, right? And dream, right? And once you've got that, now fucking work towards it. Now break it down and be like, well, how do I get there? It's kind of in the clouds right now. I'm like, well, pick up that ladder, right? And put your foot on it. And I'll keep climbing. And you can look back and you can connect the dots looking backwards, just like Steve Jobs said, which is true. But just keep working at something, and it's like, it's addictive. It gives you a purpose, right? It gives you something to get out of bed in the morning. And I think, if a pandemic's left you a little bit cabin feverish and kept you inside and things are a little bit uncertain or what, just work towards something. It doesn't have to be, anything. It doesn't really have to be groundbreaking. It doesn't have to change the world. It just work towards something, and it spirals, right? Like, like your story, you worked track and field on cross country. Next thing you know, you worked hard at your fucking studies. You got a scholarship. You went to college, worked hard at that bled into something else. You worked hard at that, bled into something else. Yeah, life knocked you from path to path, but it's going to do that. Life's going to slap us all around. But like, it's all kind of moved on. And then look at you now, smashing it.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm grateful. It's good. And even finding balance in that, like you said, it's addictive. Any good thing can go bad. Any good thing can be bad. Too much of anything can be bad. What does it look like to even balance that? Which is a whole new beast to look into.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
Like I said before, this is addictive. And I told you I could stay at my computer all day and never take care of myself or anything else around me. I could go without food, water. I don't have to lift. My dog would just be sitting here. Like I could just sit here and work. But that's not, even though what I'm doing, I believe is good and I believe is helpful for other people, it's also not my everything, right? It's not, if I lost my business, something drastic happened, if God forbid, all the internet went out and no one had any social media access anymore, would Charlotte be gone? No. So this does not define my worth. It does not define who I am. It's a part of what I do, and I absolutely love it. I have a passion for it. But it's important to also take a step back and recognize, if this were all to leave tomorrow, if everything that I've worked so hard for dissipates, is my life over? No, it's not. And that's just another aspect of life, and learning how to go through that and learning what's my next step and working hard towards that. But there is an element of that I still am working on. I say that, and it's also, that would be very hard for me to let go of, right? Like I say, I would need to let it go and move on, but it would definitely be a difficult thing, knowing how hard I've worked and where I've gone, to be like, why? What's the purpose of this? What's the purpose of this suffering now? Growth, probably, right? And how can I, what's next for that? So I have a lot of personal growth I have in that area I need to work on. I'm still working on my boundaries, not making my business the core of my life, which it has been for a while. Especially, there are seasons, and like you said, with COVID and everything, having people work on something, there's a season for that, and the season's going to pass. And so getting my business off the ground, I had an in-person business too, and that's been established for a couple of years now, but my virtual is new. So the first half year spent most of my time growing it and developing it and trying to perfect it the best that I can. And so it definitely is time consuming, and has been the central part of what I do on a daily basis. But working on those boundaries, working on letting go, relinquishing control, outsourcing is one of the reasons I want to do that, hiring and expanding so that I can manage and then take a step away, maybe in 20, 30 years down the line, sell the business. Like, I'd love to do something along those lines. But for now, I'm still working on that. That's still a work in progress for me, not making it my everything, not making my addiction with it my all, or letting it define who I am.
That's an ongoing journey, right? And that's something that we're all on in every way. And no matter what you're doing, it's trying to not let what you do define who you are, because they are totally separate entities.
Yes, absolutely.
I really, really appreciate your time, mate.
Thank you. I appreciate you reaching out. It's been a pleasure being on, and I'm really excited. Thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you very much. If you and your husband are ever down in the bottom right-hand corner, then let me know, and we'll grab a coffee and throw some bars around.
Yeah, he wants to go out to New Zealand, so I think we'll definitely do that. We'll take you up on it.
Perfect. Yeah, sail on over.
Awesome. We'll be there. Thanks,
right,
Alex.
Mate. Take it easy. Have a good day, and good luck with everything.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.